Hello everyone, welcome to my first history video using a new form of layout, regnal chronology. Essentially, regnal chronology is telling a history of a place just by a list of its rulers, which is exactly what I will do in this video. In this video, I will follow the history of the Roman Empire through a list of its 70 emperors, only taking time to explain the important ones. Without further ado, let's get this 503-year-long history started. I hope it doesn't take that long. On March 15th, 44 BCE, Roman dictator Julius Caesar was assassinated on the Ides of March by the Senate. For more info, watch my biography on him. With the death of Caesar came the birth of the Roman Empire, being established on this day 2,049 years ago in 27 BCE by the first emperor Augustus. With a whole month named after him, he would lay the foundations of the mighty empire which was to come, and establish the Julio-Claudian dynasty. As he once stated, "I found Rome a city of clay, and left it a city of marble." After Augustus died in 14 CE, he was succeeded by Tiberius. He would prove an excellent general who strictly enforced the law. Following him in 41 CE was Caligula. Caligula was... I can't hide it. He was absolutely mental. Other than building aqueducts and annexing some land, he engaged in incest with his sisters, demanded to be worshipped as a god, and supposedly made his horse, Incitatus, a consul, building him a large stable with gold-infused food. After the train wreck of Caligula's reign ended with his assassination by the emperor's police force, called the Praetorian Guard, came Claudius. He would restore order and prove a great emperor. Then came Nero. Oh boy, if Caligula was a train wreck, Nero was
a hot mess inside a dumpster fire, inside a train wreck.
He killed Christians, most notably St. Peter, turning some Christians into candles for parties, and he targeted Jews, inspiring the number 666. And his reign ended in 68 CE with his suicide in the Great Fire of Rome, which he is said to have fiddled during. With his death came turmoil. During 69 CE, there were 4 emperors in the aptly named Year of the 4 Emperors. They were the weak Galba, who was killed by General Otho, the next emperor, who committed suicide and was replaced by Vitellius, who was brutally slaughtered by the 4th and final emperor of this insanity, Vespasian. Vespasian would return stability, founding the Flavian dynasty. He reformed the legal code and built something you might know as the Colosseum. Vespasian's son, Titus, came next. He had to deal with Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE. Following him came the last member of the Flavian dynasty, Domitian. He would be an authoritarian emperor who pushed out propaganda and gained a cult-like following until his assassination in 96 CE, ending the Flavian dynasty. Next came the Nerva Antonine dynasty, established by the competent Nerva in 96 CE. Then came Trajan. Under Trajan, the Roman Empire reached its zenith of territory, reaching from Great Britain to Iran. After his prosperous reign came Hadrian. He would focus on settling new Roman lands, as well as building big, beautiful walls to keep out all the Caledonians, with Hadrian's Wall in Great Britain. Next was Antoninus Pius. He was a great financier who grew the treasury. Then came the contemplative Marcus Aurelius, the last emperor of the Pax Romana, or Roman peace, which had lasted since Augustus. Following was Lucius Verus, who liked beating up Parthians. Next came Commodus, who was more interested in gladiator fights than governing, causing his assassination by being strangled while taking a bath by wrestler Narcissus. With a bath came the end of the Nerva Antonine dynasty. Commodus's death brought more chaos in the Year of the 5 Emperors. There were actually only 3 who ruled that year, but whatever. They were Pertinax, Didius Julianus, and the founder of the Severan dynasty in 193 CE, Septimius Severus, who liked to disappear his enemies. Then were co-rulers Caracalla and Geta, who were brothers. Actually just Caracalla, because Geta was killed on Caracalla's orders. Caracalla would give citizenship to all the empire's citizens. Skipping over the unimportant Macrinus and Diadumenian, we reach Elagabalus. He would host a prank lottery where you could get a box of snakes, and he would hide lions in the rooms of guests. With his and the last two emperors' executions by the Praetorian Guard, we reached Severus Alexander. His reign ended with his hanging. Then came a crisis. The crisis in question was the crisis of the 3rd century. Nearly every emperor in this period served less than a year and was slaughtered, so I'm only going to rapid fire their names. Try to keep up. Maximinus I, murdered. Gordian I, committed suicide. Gordian II, slaughtered by enemies. Pupienus, tortured and killed by the Praetorian Guard. Balbinus, same fate. Gordian III, mysteriously died. Philip the Arab, killed by enemies. Philip II, tortured and killed by the Praetorian Guard. Decius, killed by enemies. Herennius Etruscus, same fate. Tribonius Gallus, slaughtered by mutineers. Hostilian, plague victim. Volusianus, killed by soldiers. Aemilianus, same fate. Silvanicus, unknown. Valerian, choked by Persian captors after being forced to eat molten gold. Gallienus, murdered. Salonius, same fate. Claudius II, plague victim. Quintillus, committed suicide. Aurelian, murdered. Tacitus, same fate. Florianus, same fate. Probus, same fate. Carus, supposedly struck by lightning. Carinus, murdered. And finally, Numerian died of disease. 27 emperors ruled, and 50 more were proclaimed during a 49-year period between 235 CE and 284 CE. Nonetheless, the empire would continue with a new form of government. In 284 CE, Diocletian took the position of emperor. He would divide Rome into west and east, assigning an emperor and co-emperor to simultaneously rule each. This would lead to the Tetrarchy, something ruled by 4 people. Following Diocletian was Maximian, who was murdered. Skipping over Constantius I, Galerius, Severus II, who was killed, and Maxentius, we reach Licinius, who had a feud with an emperor I will mention soon. After Maximius II, Valerius Valens, and Martinian, we reach Licinius' enemy, the founder of the Constantinian dynasty, Constantine the Great. He enjoyed a long reign, enacting the Edict of Milan in 313 CE, which granted fair treatment to Christians. The rest of the dynasty's members were fairly pathetic compared to him, so I'll just list them. Constantine II, Constantius II, Constans I, Vetranio, Julian the Apostate, and Jovian. A new dynasty would soon rise. Out with the Constantinian dynasty and in with the Valentinian dynasty, founded by Valentinian the Great in 364 CE. He liked to fight Germanic tribes. Next came Valens, who oversaw the Gothic War. Next is Gratian. He promoted Christianity over the ancient Roman religion. And the last of the Valentinian dynasty was Valentinian II. With his death in 392 CE, began the Theodosian dynasty by Theodosius the Great. He enjoyed beating up Goths. Following were brothers Arcadius and Honorius, who ruled both halves of the empire at the same time. Next was Theodosius II, who reigned 42 years and died by falling off a horse. Anyways, Constantius III would succeed, being followed by Valentinian III and finally Marcian. From 455 onward, Rome would be ruled by very weak and obscure emperors of no dynasty. They were Petronius Maximus, Avitus, Majorian, Libius Severus, Anthemius, Olybrius, Glycerius, Julius Nepos, and the final emperor of the Western Roman Empire until the fall of Rome in 476 was Romulus Augustus. 503 years and 70 emperors long, the Western Roman Empire will leave an unforgettable legacy and would pass the torch of Roman history to the Byzantines. And with that was my longer than I expected history of the Roman emperors. From Augustus to Romulus Augustus, there were emperors of all shapes and sizes and types. Some were better than others, and some were absolute nutcases. My next video will be a history on the Californian Gold Rush. It will come out on January 24th. Thanks for watching.